You know that specific kind of panic?
Oh, yeah, the dreaded blank page paralysis.
Exactly. The one where you're sitting at your desk, maybe it's 2 in the morning, the coffee has gone completely cold,
And you were just staring at it.
just staring at a blinking cursor on a blank white screen. You've got the vision, right? Like you can see the sign above the door, you can literally smell the clean floors, you know exactly how you want to treat your
Then
patients.
you have to actually write the business plan.
Right. And suddenly, it feels less like you're starting a business and more like you're back in grad school trying to write a dissertation on a topic you barely understand.
It's incredibly intimidating. I mean, most people get into healthcare to help people, not to become authors or financial forecasters.
It feels like busy work,
Right.
like a hurdle they just put in your way to annoy you.
Yeah.
But today, we're going to completely flip that script. We're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating masterclass on business planning and budgeting for your independent pharmacy.
Which is such a crucial topic right now.
It really is. And our source for this is taught by Dr. Demita Ferguson of Private
And just so everyone gets the branding right on that, it is pronounced Private.
Thank you. Yes. Private. And look, Dr. Ferguson isn't just, theorizing from an ivory tower here. She has 18 years of experience in the trenches.
She really does.
She's managed units generating $10 million annually, and she's a Six Sigma green belt.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. For those who don't know, Six Sigma is a set of techniques for process improvement. Basically, it's the absolute science of eliminating waste and error.
Okay.
Bringing that kind of strict manufacturing discipline into a clinical pharmacy setting is a serious advantage.
I bet. So her main point right out of the gate is this terrifying book of a business plan. It is not homework. It is the absolute key to survival.
She frames it as a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably the most useful mental model for you listening right now to start with.
A gatekeeper.
Right. Because in the pharmacy world, you cannot just rent a storefront and start dispensing drugs. There are multiple massive entities standing in your way, and this document is the only key that unlocks those doors.
So let's break that down. Who exactly are we trying to impress here? Obviously, the bank.
The bank is the big one, yes. I mean, they are not writing a check for a dream. They need to see hard financial viability.
Right.
But Dr. Ferguson points out the gatekeepers that people often forget about. Landlords, for instance.
That's a really good point. I hadn't really thought about the landlord as a partner in the business model.
Oh, they are essential. Think about it. If you want a prime location, that commercial landlord wants to know you're going to be there for 5 or 10 years.
Because turnover is expensive for them.
Exactly. They won't sign a lease if they think you're going to fold in 6 months because you didn't account for cash flow.
And suppliers, too, right?
Huge. Wholesalers. If you want to stock inventory or like thousands of dollars of medication on credit, they need to see a plan. They have to assess your payment reliability before they ship a single bottle.
So effectively, this document is your passport. Without it, you are stranded. You aren't opening a pharmacy, you're just a person with a good idea.
Precisely. It builds confidence. It tells the world, I have thought this through, and I am worth the risk.
So let's get into the mechanics of building this passport. Dr. Ferguson starts with something that sounds superficial, but is apparently a total deal breaker: the visual presentation.
It sounds minor, doesn't it?
It does.
But the cover page sets the entire tone. She is very specific about this. Keep it clean. Use professional fonts like Arial or Times New Roman. Keep the size readable, 12 to 16 points.
So no Comic Sans.
Definitely no Comic Sans.
Yeah.
And don't make it look like a scrapbooking project. You want the design to disappear so the content can actually speak.
Okay, that makes sense.
But here's the harsh reality she hits us with. The 2-page rule.
This is the part that stresses me out. You spend months writing this 40-page document, and she says, what?
She says that investors and partners are likely not going to read it. At least not at first. They are skimmers.
Because they're busy people.
Exactly.
That puts an immense amount of pressure on the executive summary.
It does. Dr. Ferguson calls the executive summary the hook. It should be a maximum of 2 pages. And if those 2 pages don't convince them that your idea is both amazing and logical, they stop reading. Game over.
So what exactly has to be in those 2 critical pages?
It's a snapshot of the whole business. You need the industry trends. What is happening in the pharmacy landscape right now? You need your specific model.
Like, are you traditional, retail, specialty, compounding?
Right. And most importantly, you need the secret sauce.
I love that concept, the secret sauce. But I think a lot of people hear that and think they need to invent a new molecule or cure a rare disease to be innovative.
Not at all.
Mm.
Dr. Ferguson is very reassuring on this point. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to redefine the parts that can be better.
So you don't need to invent a new kind of medicine, you just need a better way to deliver it.
Or a better way to service the specific patient who needs it.
Which brings us to the context you're operating in. If you look at the overall industry landscape, the common narrative out there is David versus Goliath.
Right.
You might assume independent pharmacies are a dying breed, just getting crushed by the big chains like CVS or Walgreens.
That is the narrative.
Yeah.
But the data tells a completely different story. Dr. Ferguson cites a stat that actually blew my mind. Independent pharmacies still fill nearly 1 in 3 prescriptions nationwide.
1 in 3, that's huge. They aren't dead at all.
They are very much alive. And here's the kicker. 72% of patients surveyed actually prefer independent pharmacies over large retailers.
72%. That is a total landslide. Why is that? Is it just nostalgia?
No, it's highly functional. It comes down to the human element. Shorter wait times, personalized service, and actually having a real relationship with the pharmacist.
Because if you go to a big box chain, you're often just a number in a queue.
Exactly. In an independent setup, you're a neighbor.
However, we can't ignore the villain in this story, because if everyone loves independence so much, why are they struggling?
The PBMs.
Pharmacy benefit managers. For those listening who are lucky enough not to know, can you explain why they are the bad guys here?
They are the middlemen. They sit between insurance companies, pharmacies, and drug manufacturers.
Okay.
And they basically determine how much a pharmacy gets paid for dispensing a drug. Over the last decade, they have aggressively lowered reimbursement rates to squeeze margins.
So you fill a script, and the PBM says, okay, we're paying you $5, but the drug actually cost you $6.
Exactly. You are literally losing money just by doing your job.
The source noted that more than 2,200 independent pharmacies have closed since 2018, largely due to these financial pressures.
That is a staggering number, 2,200.
It is.
So Dr. Ferguson's argument is that you simply cannot build a business plan that relies solely on insurance reimbursements anymore.
Correct. That model is broken. The future is innovative models. Dr. Ferguson calls them blue ocean strategies. So cash-based pricing, niche services, specialty offerings.
You have to find a way to make money that doesn't depend on a PBM deciding whether or not you get paid today.
And this is where the deep dive gets really fun, because she lays out some incredible examples of what these niches look like in the real world. Let's look at the Miami example she gave. This is an absolute masterclass in reading a market.
It really is.
Yeah.
So Dr. Ferguson looks at the data. In 2020, Americans spent $16.7 billion on cosmetic procedures.
Wow.
And the South Atlantic region, which includes Florida, does 25% of that massive volume.
And the key here is that cosmetic surgery, facelifts, tummy tucks, that is almost entirely elective.
Right. It is not covered by insurance. It is purely a cash business.
And Miami has 3.9 cosmetic surgeons per 100,000 residents, which is the highest density in the U.S. So you have a ton of surgeries, a ton of cash flow.
And a massive need for post-op care. A patient coming out of surgery needs antibiotics, pain management, scar creams, wound care supplies. A pharmacy in that specific location could specialize entirely in post-op recovery for plastic surgery patients.
So you aren't trying to be the pharmacy for everyone. You are being the pharmacy for post-op recovery.
Exactly. And you build relationships with the surgeons directly. When they finish the surgery, they send the patient to you because you have the specialized compounding creams they prefer.
And you completely sidestep the PBMs because the customers are paying cash anyway.
That's the brilliance of it.
That is so smart. She gave another example that was totally different, though. Greener Pastures Pharmacy.
This one addresses the complete other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Rural access. There are huge pharmacy deserts where people, often elderly patients with mobility issues, have to drive 45 minutes just to get their meds.
So the model there isn't about high-end cosmetic creams. It's about logistics.
It's about high-touch delivery, personalized service to eliminate the burden of travel. You're solving a major lifestyle problem for them.
And then there was the third one, which I think might be my favorite just because of the demographic. The pet pharmacy.
The fur babies.
Yes.
It sounds cute, but economically, it is incredibly powerful. The target market is pet owners aged 25 to 55 living near vet clinics.
And we know people will spend money on their pets that they wouldn't even spend on themselves.
Oh, without a second thought. They will pay for reliability. If your dog has surgery or needs chronic care meds, you want convenience and you want absolute trust.
Right.
Often these meds are paid out of pocket or via pet insurance, which operates very differently than human health insurance. It's just another amazing way to escape the PBM stranglehold.
So the lesson here is find a niche. Don't just open a generic pharmacy. Open the pharmacy for X.
Precisely. Generalism is dangerous for a small player right now. Specialization is safety.
But even if you find your niche, you aren't operating in a vacuum. You have to know your enemy. Which leads us to the competition section of the business plan.
Right. And Dr. Ferguson warns against tunnel vision here. A lot of people think, my competition is the other independent pharmacy across town.
But it's not.
No, it's a multi-front war. You have the big box chains, CVS, Walgreens. They have incredible volume and prime locations.
Then you have supermarkets.
Right. People love the convenience of shopping for groceries while they wait for their prescription. You have online pharmacies like Amazon PillPack, which compete aggressively on price.
And you have specialty pharmacies.
Exactly.
It sounds totally daunting when you list them all like that. How do you structure a battle plan against Amazon and Walmart simultaneously?
You use a SWOT analysis.
Yeah.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. You cannot beat Amazon on price. You cannot beat Walmart on foot traffic.
So where do you actually win?
Speed and relationships. Dr. Ferguson highlights that short wait times are a huge differentiator. Have you ever tried to get a prescription filled at a big chain on a Tuesday evening?
It's a total nightmare. You're waiting 45 minutes just wandering the aisles buying candy bars you don't need.
Right. An independent can say, we will have you out in 10 minutes. That is a massive value proposition for a busy parent. And then there are relationships.
Sure.
A big box pharmacist is timed on every single interaction. They do not have time to know your name. An independent does.
She used the example of VaxCare Community Pharmacy to illustrate this.
Which was brilliant.
Right.
Their whole business model was literally just vaccines. Low overhead, highly reliable appointments.
While the big chains were struggling with chaotic scheduling systems, VaxCare won by simply being reliable and fast.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have the idea, the niche, and the competitive strategy. But investors bank on people, not just ideas. They bet on the jockey, not just the horse.
Exactly. And this is where the team section of the business plan comes in. Looking at Dr. Ferguson's bio as an example, it really is the gold standard for this.
It builds so much trust. When she lists her degrees, her Six Sigma certification, her community involvement.
It shows she's not just a clinician, she is an operator. Six Sigma tells me she understands efficiency at a deep level.
And the community involvement part.
Chambers of commerce, sororities, that tells me she has the network to drive those word-of-mouth referrals we talked about earlier.
And the operations part, I know this can be dry, but she emphasizes that it is the backbone of the whole thing.
It is. And she touches on something vital here, marketing. For an independent pharmacy, marketing isn't just running a Facebook ad. It's referrals. It's community outreach. It's about being visible exactly where your niche lives.
She also mentioned HR strategy, and this was a specific tip I hadn't heard before, using a PEO.
A professional employer organization. I was so glad she included that. For a new business owner, handling payroll, compliance, benefits, workers' comp, it is a total nightmare.
And in healthcare, the regulations are insanely strict.
Very. A PEO handles all that for you. It allows you to focus on being a pharmacist and a business owner rather than playing HR manager.
Which leads us to the part everyone dreads but absolutely everyone needs, the financial roadmap, the budget.
And here is the key philosophy Dr. Ferguson imparts. The budget isn't just math. It comes directly from the strategy. Every single line item in your budget should tell a story about what you are trying to achieve.
So where do these line items actually come from? Obviously, you have the big ones like rent and inventory.
Sure, startup costs like architect fees, construction, cabinetry, furniture. But Dr. Ferguson points out the hidden costs, the ones that bite you if you aren't looking closely.
Like the HVAC example. That was wild.
It sounds absurd, right? HVAC maintenance during construction?
I wouldn't have thought of that in a million years. Paying for air conditioning while the place is still covered in sawdust.
Most people wouldn't. But if you're installing expensive custom cabinetry for pharmacy shelving, you need climate control even before you open.
Because if the humidity spikes, the wood warps.
Exactly. That's a line item you have to pay for before you've sold a single pill.
And professional help is another big one.
Absolutely. Accountants, legal support. for leases and trademarks. You cannot DIY your lease agreement with a commercial landlord. That is a recipe for disaster.
And compliance costs?
DEA registration, pharmacy permits, merchant accreditation, these aren't free. And they certainly aren't optional. They're permission to play costs.
She also stressed technology.
Security systems, phone systems, and the pharmacy management software. You are handling highly sensitive medical data and controlled substances. Your tech stack has to be bulletproof.
And finally, the contingency fund.
The buffer. Because as we said at the very start, things will go wrong.
Always.
Construction will be delayed.
Yeah.
The state board will lose your paperwork for 3 weeks. You need a financial cushion so that a simple delay doesn't become a death sentence for the business.
So what does this all mean for us? We've gone from the terror of the blank page to a deeply detailed, actionable roadmap.
It means that the business plan is a living document. Dr. Ferguson was very clear about this in the source material. Not everything in her plan happened exactly as she wrote it.
Right. She mentioned there were pivots and hurdles she completely didn't see coming.
Exactly. But because she had the foundation, she didn't collapse. She could adjust. She knew her break-even numbers. She knew her market intimately.
It's the difference between wandering around hoping to find success and actually having a map to a destination.
It's not about predicting the future perfectly. It's about preparing for it wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you are doing cosmetic surgery meds in Miami or rural home delivery, the plan is what makes it real.
That's it. It converts a dream into a viable business. And I think that's a perfect place to wrap up the deep dive on this source material. But before we go, I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to mull over.
Go for it.
We talked heavily about how the landscape of pharmacy is shifting. We are moving from a product business just selling pills in a bottle to a service business actively solving health problems.
It is a fundamental shift in value.
So here's the question for you to explore on your own. If you were opening a pharmacy today and you had to escape the big box trap, what hyper-specific niche would you choose? Where is the gap in your own community that only a genuine human connection can fill?
That is the million-dollar question. Literally.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
A pleasure as always.